Hello, Calculus 2 students, and welcome to this review of our practice final exam. I'm going to be taking my time going through all these problems, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot that we're going to need to cover. So I'll try to do it as fast as I can as well. So, getting everything into position. We do have our first problem here, and hopefully you could see it well. That should be good. Okay, so the first problem from our test is solving the integral of x to the fifth times cosine 4x. And what we're going to need to do for this problem is originally I tried to do integration by parts, but it turns out that that was too long and I made too many stupid mistakes on it. So a better way of doing this is to use the tabular method. But in case you need a refresher on how to use the tabular method, just like with integration by parts, you set your u to, in this case, x to the fifth, and you set your dv equal to cosine of 4x. Now, on this left side, you're going to take the integral. You're going to take the derivative of every line down. And on this line, and on this right side, you're going to take the integral of every line down. So that's the first step. Integral derivative of x to the fifth, 5x to the fourth, derivative of that, 20x to the third, derivative of that, 60x to the second, derivative of that, 120x, derivative of that, 120, and derivative of that, 0. But we also, on this side, need to indicate positive, minus, positive, minus, positive, minus, positive. Now on the right side, we take the integral of cosine 4x, which is 1/4 sine 4x. Integral of that, negative 1/16 cosine 4x. Integral of that, 1/64 sine 4x. Integral of that, 1/256 cosine 4x. Now, if you just didn't catch what I did there, we had a negative 1/64 sine 4x. It goes back to negative cosine 4x, thus we cancel out the negative. Then we have 1/1024 sine 4x. Lastly, we have negative 1/4096 cosine 4x. Now, for the tabular method, you would diagonally multiply everything together. So this value would be positive when combined. This value would be also positive when combined because you have a negative 5x to the 4. This value would be negative when combined. This value the negative 60 here and the positive 1 over 25, 256 here would create a negative value. These two positive values would create a positive value. These two negative values would create a positive value. So from the tabular method, we get x to the 5th over 4 sine 4x plus 5x to the 4th over 4 actually that should be over 16 cosine 4x minus 20 x to the 3rd over 64 sine 4x minus 120x over 1024 sine 4x that I think I might have skipped. Yeah, I skipped the 256. And I also skipped a 60. So I went a little ahead. That should actually be 60x squared over 256. Minus, actually plus 120x over 1024 cosine 4x shoot, this previous term should be cosine x. This term should be sine x. Plus 120 over 4096 cosine 4x plus c, because it's an indefinite integral. Quality on this camera looks good. Let's continue with the other 9 problems I have, because